Hi, this is Debbie from Open Mind Tarot, back with another reading, and it is Saturday the 28th of March 2020. I hope you're all well, even more so at this time. I know there's a lot of awful stuff going on in the world, and a lot of the world, including where I am, is in lockdown at the minute because of the C-19 virus. I know it's not easy to stay positive, but that's what I'm hoping is going to come through these cards today. I'm using the Witch's Tarot, and that is by Ellen Duggan. I should imagine that most of you are feeling a little bit out of sorts and off balance and anxious at the moment. There's been such a flooding in the media of all of the stuff that's going on with this virus. Obviously I know we need to stay informed, but I think to a very, very minimal degree is the best that I can advise. Because I think at the moment we're in pretty much a pandemic of fear more than anything else, and fear is not something that is healthy, obviously. It creates stress hormones in your body that really are quite harmful to your body. So if you can do whatever you can in whatever circumstances that you're in to just keep your vibes high. I've got my top on today. Don't know if you can see it. Positive vibes only. But seriously, if you can do whatever you can do to keep your vibes positive, that's the best thing that you can do for yourself. Regardless of what viruses, bacteria, pathogens are out there, we live with them every day of our lives. And we live in a symbiotic relationship with them, and we need to really kind of try and trust our body to defend her like it does all of the time with our immune system. So whatever you can do to boost your immune system, do that. Laughter, feelings of love as well, or a real boost to the immune system as well. So anything that brings you love and joy, do that. And like I say, switch off your TVs, try and stay away from the news, try and shield yourself as much as possible. Obviously, check in maybe once a day or something, whether it's on your phone, just at the latest messages, advice, whatever that you need to know. But apart from that, seriously, just do the good stuff that makes you feel good. If you feel good, then you're healthy. Right, so I've shuffled them enough. Let's see what comes through the cards. What does everybody need to know? This video is being recorded on the 28th of March 2020, but that doesn't mean that it's just exclusively for that day. Whenever you happen to come across this video is exactly the right time for you to hear the message. And I hope there is something in here for everybody. So what does the collective need to know for the highest and greatest good of all? There's one card just flipping out there. The Queen of Pentacles. That's a lovely card, which is quite appropriate at the minute. She is a queen because she's reached the point of she's gained control over the physical. So whatever that that is to her, the physical being everything in this earthly material world. So that can relate to money, it can relate to jobs, it can relate to home, it can relate to family, it relates to the everyday sort of things. So all of your everyday tangible things. It can relate to your health. So this queen here has reached a point of real satisfaction, contentment. Sorry if there's a bit of a light there shining, I've got a candle underneath here. And she's really at home in herself, in her physical world, in her surroundings. And I hope that the people watching here today are feeling that energy of being at home in your physical surroundings. For most of us, we haven't got a choice at the minute. So I hope everybody is in a position where they're able to have that feeling of just comfort and comfort in the space that you're in. Right, I'm just going to pull another couple of cards. Right, we've got the Six of Wands sitting next to her, and that card's all about victory. You've got the victory laurel here, which signifies being commended for how far you've come. So all of these wands that he's got here are kind of things that he's put out in the world, is output. So whatever that might be for him, whatever that might be for you. So in terms of output, it's what you do in the world. It's the wands are very much a doing energy, and it comes from an inner passion and desire. So your passions and your desires that you're creating in the world with have reached a point of, six is about balance as well. So he's reached a kind of even keel with what he's putting out into the world, and definitely some recognition from others. This guy's riding on his horse with all his finery on, and he's being kind of recognised and commended by others for what it is that he's doing and whatever it is he's putting out there in the world. So that's really nice, sitting next to the Queen of Pentacles. And it might be that you're feeling actually quite satisfied and content and celebrating yourself in a way. And I think that's something that only comes with sometimes being forced into positions like we're in at the moment. It might not be that every day you have that feeling of recognition for what you've got in your physical everyday world. But at the moment, we're kind of being forced to look at our physical everyday world probably a lot more closely than what we would normally. And with these two cards together, that seems to me that there's like a sense of satisfaction and achievement with what you have got, and appreciation, definitely appreciation, because this guy's being commended by others. So, you know, give yourself a round of applause, give yourself a pat on the back, acknowledge that what you have in the physical and how far you've come in your physical environment, your everyday routines, your health. You've reached a point of you're doing well, you know. Right, I'm just going to pull another card and recognise that. What else do we need to know? What else do we need to know for highest good and highest greatest good of all? Card doesn't want to come out. Maybe there's some delays. You don't say. We're experiencing delays all right at the minute, aren't we? Delays in life. Life's on hold. It's not always a bad thing though. It's not until you learn to stop that you kind of see what you've got really. 3 cards have come out. Should I take them all? God, don't normally read this many cards, but let's have a look. Right, what came out? We've got the Knight of Swords, the King of Cups, and the Magician. I'll just hold those up to the camera if I can. Knight of Swords, King of Cups, and the Magician. The Knight of Swords, this guy here, he is all about communication and intellect, all of the head stuff, all of the brain stuff, the mind stuff. So what he puts out in the world, his output is all about the mind and communication and intellect. The knight hasn't reached the stage of the king, in that he hasn't mastered the element of swords yet. So he's very passionate about what he's putting out, what he's communicating to others, and sometimes to a point of maybe a little bit blunt, a little bit hasty. This guy rushes in. Maybe he's not entirely thinking. So although he's a thinking card, he hasn't necessarily mastered that element because he's just a knight. He's made progress. He's gone from a page to a knight. So he's not a novice. He's made some progress, but he hasn't totally mastered his thoughts, his words, and what he puts out in the world. So it's a very action orientated card. It can be about rushing into things, and also bringing in messages as well. It can be about bringing in information as well. So we've got that. Where was it? Hang on, what was the order that were in? That was it, wasn't it? Was he first? Yeah, he was first. So you've got him first, and in the middle there we've got the King of Cups. And the King of Cups, he's the element of water, he's cups, and that represents your emotions, your creativity, coming from the heart. So he is in a position where, if you look at this card, he's a boss. Can you see there? He's really kind of in his element. So cups can be quite, well, they are an emotional card, but he's not wishy-washy. He's not an all or nothing kind of guy like the Knight of Cups can be, where it's I can't actually say the saying that springs to mind, the one me nana used to say, but all sugar are all something else, poop. He's not a moody guy. He's managed and he's maintained his balance in his emotions and his moods and what he's putting out emotionally, and creativity as well. So he's reached a point where he's not kind of he's not at odds with what he's creating. He's happy and content with what he's creating. He's reached a point of knowing what he's doing, knowing what he's putting out there, because it's very much from the heart, and he knows what is inside is authentic and true and honest. He doesn't need to second guess himself, so he knows whatever he puts out there creatively is going to be authentic. And the next guy is the Magician, and he's a Major Arcana card, and that's the only Major Arcana card that we've got here. And he's number 1 in the Major Arcana. He's number 1 in the tarot. And he is all about the masculine creativity. So it's very much the drive and what you're physically putting out into the world. So it comes from a very creative space, and what you can kind of master in terms of all of the elements. So he's got at his disposal, he's got, I don't know if you can see on this card. Yeah, well anyways, he's got the wand, he's got the cup, and he will have the sword and the pentacle there as well. So he's got all of the elements that are required to put out what he wants to put out and what he wants to create in the world. He's connected, he's well connected to his kind of higher self. Usually this guy is depicted with one arm up and one arm down, so it's like one arm up to source, to the divine, and one arm down to earth. So he's got that channel of creativity and inspiration that just flows through him. And in a practical sense, he's got everything he needs to kind of have the output and put out what it is that he's inspired by into the world. So sat next to the King of Cups there, that is a very, very creative combination. So it might be that a lot of you are feeling very creative at the moment. And it might be with the Knight of Swords that you're having a kind of rush of creativity. So in amongst all of the slowdown and the recognition of kind of what you have in your day to day, and you know, having the time to celebrate what it is that you have in your everyday and your material, and celebrate your people and your health and all things that are here in the physical everyday experience. Having the time to do that is maybe creating a bit of space in your world to then feel really, really driven and really inspired, because that card there is the only major arcana card that we've got here that's being pulled out, and that's a very masculine card, a masculine energy of creativity. We've got all masculines there in the creative side of things. So you've got the feminine energy of the Queen of Pentacles, and it's balanced with the masculine energy of the Magician and the King of Cups. And because they came out together, and obviously I pulled those two first. And I think having that time to just sit and contemplate and appreciate and feel comfort in all that you've got, and celebrate all that you've got, is giving you the space to create. So this is all about intuition as well. The King of Cups is absolutely filled with intuition. So he's reached a point with his intuition where he trusts it and he knows it and he doesn't doubt it. So whatever it is that you're feeling inspired to create, go for it. This is a real sort of go for it energy as well. So if it's writing or whatever, which it could well be with your Knight of Swords there, just do it, you know, get it all out there, get it all down on paper, get your ideas down on paper, communicate your ideas, share your ideas. Great time for that. And I haven't looked at the bottom of the deck yet, so I'm going to do that now. Oh, we've got the Moon, which is the feminine energy. And the feminine energy, the Moon is quite a dreamy card. It's Neptunian, and it's bringing light from the dark as well. And I think we might be in a dark place at the moment, a lot of us, mentally, emotionally, but from that we've got to remember that we've got our inner light. So it doesn't matter in a sense that we can't see what's going on, which is obviously what's represented with the Moon. It's the darkness, but there's the light within that. So the light that's guiding you is a different light to the sun. It's an inner light, and that fits really well with the Magician, because it's inspired action that we're taking. It's stuff that's from deep within. It has real deep emotional meaning to us. And it might be that we are having to really dig deep in our emotions and go into dark places that we've never been or dared to go before. But in exploring that, all I see on that card is the light. So in exploring the darkness, that's where we're going to find the light. We're in a light, we're in an expression, we're in a creativity, and be able to kind of just put it forward and put it out there and go for it. What is that purple I'm drawn to? There's a lovely purple glow underneath the light there, and that's very much about your spirituality. And it might be that that's not something that you've considered before, depending on who's watching this, you know. But I think a lot of us, that's something that, you know, we might have a little bit of a handle on, but not necessarily something that we'll go very deep with. But I think this being forced to stop like we're doing at the moment and smell the coffee and take a little stock of where we are and what's important to us and all of that, I think that is highlighting the need for something greater than the everyday. Yes, we've got this everyday success and this comfort of what everyday surroundings and routines and stuff like that, and we do have the success, but I think we really do need to see that we've achieved what we've achieved, but there's things that can go on that are beyond our, well, they're beyond our control, aren't they? And I think, yes, she has control of all that, but, you know, there's things that are beyond control sometimes, like we have at the moment, and it's only then that you're kind of forced to acknowledge something kind of outside of yourself that's greater than you in creating. So yes, we are able to create a lot of stuff in the world, and a lot of stuff in our everyday routines, but when it comes down to it, what's important, and we need to go in to discover that and acknowledge that, you know, there is a spiritual element to life as well. And I think it's a collective spiritual element as well. It's like it's an energy outside of the individual. It's a collective thing, and I think that's really relevant at the moment as well, in that we need to acknowledge that we're in a time when the energies are really strong, in that basically there's a huge fear element, and this is about fear because it's the darkness, it's the night, and it's what we can't see. There's a big fear energy around, but I think people that can kind of see the light and know that there's something kind of higher than themselves and greater than themselves that is there to kind of protect them, I think those people have to kind of lead the way, like she's leading with a torch there. And if you do have a connection to your spiritual side and your spiritual self and your spiritual strength, just share that as much as you can with others. And I think we're seeing that a lot on social media at the minute. For all there's the darkness and all the fear, and there's a lot of fear stuff being obviously plastered all over social media and the media in general. I think the more that we can acknowledge that light and that inner light and share that light and spread that light, then the quicker that things are likely to sort of improve in the world at the moment. But the lovely thing is that whatever's going down at the minute, we've got all of this lovely creative energy. So really get connected with your higher self, like the magician there, and get connected to your intuition and your creativity, and make the most of the time that we've got at the moment. So I'm just gonna pull an oracle card. Sandra Ann Taylor. It's Energy Oracle cards. And see what we've got here. Somebody's just come in. I hope we're not going to be disturbed. Shouldn't be. So I'll just give these a shuffle. Just smiling because some troubles just come out. Card that stands out there in the spread in front of us is the King of Cups, and he is the guy that no matter what shitstorm is going on around him, and let's face it, we've got quite a shitstorm at the minute. No matter what the turbulent waters are, he is just sat and content and at home with his emotions. So whatever your emotions are, and there will be up and down and mixed and God knows what at the minute, give them the space to be, acknowledge them. If there's fear there, allow it, and there will be, because everybody's feeling the same sort of energy at the moment. But don't let it control you. You control it, and that's what the King of Cups does. He's in complete control of his emotions. He's able to allow them, acknowledge them, and let them pass. And I think that's something we need to remember here as well. This energy that we're experiencing at the moment is transient. It is a passing energy. It's not going to last forever. Nothing ever does. It's not permanent. And being in the here and now, which I think the King of Cups is the best place to be. If you look how strong he's just sat there. He's just sat with the now. It doesn't matter what's behind him. It doesn't matter what's in front of him. It's only the now. And I think that's a really key message at the moment. The now is the thing that we've only ever got control of, no matter what's going on in the world. It's only the now that matters. Yesterday's gone, tomorrow, who knows? But then that's always the case. We'll never know. You know, that's no different. It's the same now as always. We'll never know. So in a sense, nothing's changed in that respect. So just try and keep control of those emotions instead of allowing them to control you, which is the challenge here. Right, so Energy Oracle cards by Sandra Ann Taylor. What do we need to know? What does the collective need to know for our highest and greatest good, if all? What else do we need to know? There we go. Right, we've got 43, man holding a coin. And to me, that just says to me that you're in control, because that's the physical that he's got there in his hand, and your physical, which is what we're a lot kind of concerned at in the minute, is in our hands. He's got it safe, you know. He's looking happy with what he's got. He's looking proud of what he's got. And he doesn't look worried in the least. So there's something about the physical and just being okay with it. That would be the Ace of Pentacles in regular tarot. And what I'm being drawn to there is this sunlight here. Don't know if you can see that. He's sat in a meadow. Oh, sorry, I've got a candle there. The light went really weird. He's sat in a meadow and there's a really lovely looks like a dawn of a new day, I think. So the everyday might be going to change. So this is representative of something new. It's an ace. So it might be that what every day is going to look different, but if you look at that card, it's really beautiful. So look at all the colours. Maybe it's going to be different and more colourful and more rich. That's very rich meadow that is in there. It's a 43, which comes to a 7, which is standing in your truth. And that's about being authentic. So maybe the new day that's dawning is going to be a much more authentic, colourful, brighter experience. And on the bottom of the deck, how bizarre, we've got man holding a heart. So we've got the man holding a coin and the man holding a heart. So the man holding a heart is obviously all about the emotions. It's like the Ace of Cups. But look at that beautiful foliage and blooming flowers behind him. So whatever opportunities are coming, because it's an ace, it's going to bring real kind of emotional fulfillment. And you've got the 4 and the 5, which is spirituality and completion. So there might be some endings to bring forth. I think it's going to be just the difference. So there's going to be the emphasis of the material and the change to a more kind of more creative and more emotionally in tune and inspired existence. Look at his top there, it's completely open. So he's very open-hearted and authentic. So whatever opportunities are coming, it's an opportunity to have everyday existence in a new way, in a way that is very heart-centered rather than head-centered. So, very nice. I'm going to take an Archangel Michael card. And they are by Doreen Virtue. See what Archangel Michael has to say. What else do we need to know? What does everybody need to know for the highest good and the highest greatest good? Archangel Michael. What does everybody need to know for the highest good and the highest greatest good of all? There we go. Oh, there we go. Oh, how beautiful is that? Your home is protected by angels. And that's so pertinent for today, in that a lot of people are in their homes at the moment. And we'll see what the message says. Archangel Michael, thank you for watching over my home and its inhabitants. I ask that you post guardian angels at each window and door, ensuring its security. Thank you for guiding my finances so that I can easily afford to pay my rent, mortgage and taxes. And that is something that a lot of people will be concerned about at the moment. But we have got this guy here, and this is opportunity in the physical, tangible, financial sense. So I think out of whatever's going on, there will be opportunity. And if you're in any doubt about that, you know, say a prayer to Archangel Michael, ask for the support to trust that something is going to be coming along. I'll just hold that up to the camera in case you want that prayer. And on the bottom of the deck, that's a really lovely card. Be gentle with yourself, and I couldn't think of anything better advice-wise at the moment. I think getting hung up on the fear of the unknown in terms of what everyday security and finances and all of that is an added stress to everything else that's going on. And in a time when there's really not a huge amount of control over what's going on, you can do certain things to control the effect of what's going on. So one of those things is be gentle with yourself. Take the time. You've got the time. A lot of people, if they're not frontline, but a lot of people have got extra time. Take that extra time, and even if you haven't got extra time, it's even more important to take any time, any little bit of time that you can for yourself to do something something that soothes yourself, whatever that is, something that gives you pleasure and peace, just in any short moment. It doesn't have to be anything long and drawn out, but just whatever that is, be gentle with yourself and be kind to yourself in whatever way, shape or form you can. I'm just going to have a look at the prayer. It says, Archangel Michael, please guide me in treating myself with gentle nurture and love in everything I think, speak and do. Help me know that I deserve this compassion. I release any feelings of guilt to you so that I may experience lasting inner peace. And it might be that people who are used to being on a treadmill and having a very fast paced everyday existence feel that guilt about not being active and doing and output in the world at the minute if they're being restricted in that way, or seeing, you know, that there's obviously people out there who are doing a lot of work at the minute, and then there's kind of the opposite side of that, people that are at home who can't do what they would normally be doing. So if there is feelings of guilt, then just let it go and acknowledge that for whatever reason we're all put in a slightly different position at the moment, and whatever reason that is will be different for each individual. So don't feel guilt about whatever position you're in at the moment, because whatever position that is the right position for you and what you need at this moment in time. Obviously more important than ever to look after yourself and nurture yourself, and allow yourself to have all of the care and the physical care that you need. So whether that be with your diet, sleep, it all helps with your immunity and staying well and your mental health. So do whatever you can to keep your physical and your mental health on the best form that it can possibly be. So allow yourself to be nurturing to yourself, because if we all look after ourselves, then we can be more used to other people. So I'm just going to choose one last card, and that is The Teachings of Abraham by Jerry and Esther Hicks, a well-being card. So we'll just see what they have to say. Coming back to this man holding the coin there, and thinking that we are very much in charge of our own physical existence, and that includes health. So that's something that we need to take charge of and control of. And the best thing that you can do for that is to do everything you can to boost your immunity at the moment. So definitely source the best foods that you can, the best drinks that you can. Try not to kind of overindulge in the alcohol and stuff like that, because that's not helpful. It has the opposite effect on your immunity. Be kind to yourself, like that card just said. Nurture yourself. Anything that gives you that kind of just happy feeling. Anything that makes you laugh, makes you giggle, makes you feel joyful, music, whatever. You have control over that at the moment. And in a way, being at home, like this queen here, sat on a throne with everything she needs. Hopefully you are in a position where you're at home with everything you need. You are then in a position to give yourself a lot more nurture than you maybe would ordinarily. So that's really important at the minute. Oh, there we go, one's just flipped over. What have we got? Oh my god, that is so on point. It says, the harder I push against it, the more I attract its essence. And this here really reminds me of the curve. I was doing an intention experiment with Lynn McTaggart online the other day, and the intention that she was setting was about flattening the curve, because they talk about that like in epidemics and pandemics, that there's a rise and it reaches a peak and then it comes back down. So her intention was not just to eradicate everything, because when you put an intention out, the more specific and realistic it is, then the better. So she was talking about obviously it's rising, but to flatten the curve, so before it actually reaches its peak, to flatten that curve. And I think what this card is talking about is the harder I push against it, the more I attract its essence. And I think that is about not focusing on the C19 and all of the doom and gloom. And obviously that's a winter card, it's out in the snow and it's desolate. So not focusing on that side of things, because the more time and attention you give to that, the more energy you give to that. So look where you're putting your energy. Where are you putting your energy? Are you putting your energy and your focus into that, which is the issue that's going on at the minute? Or are you putting your focus onto yourself and having the best everyday experience that you can, whatever that is for you? Focusing on good health, focusing on good diet, focusing on good things that you consume, good things as in TV, social media, everything that you get from the outside in. So everything that you're getting from the outside, what you're putting into you, whether it be food, liquids, media, make sure that you focus on putting the good stuff in. Take your focus away from things that you don't want. So I'm just having a look on the back of the card at the message. It says, when you find some unwanted thing that you want to shout no at, shout briefly and then turn your attention to the thing you do want. Any attention to anything is a practicing of the vibration that will bring it unto you. So if you're practicing a vibration of fear, you're going to bring more fear. If you're practicing a vibration of creativity, if you get into your creativity, that's an amazing thing to do. If you're focusing on good food and bubble baths, nurturing yourself, that's an amazing thing to do. So if you're focusing on that, you're going to bring more healthful things towards you. You're going to bring more productive, creative things towards you. So put your focus on that, which comes back to the overall energy card, which was that So it's about focusing on the inner light, the inner stuff, the stuff that you can control, like this lady here on the moon card, and not the darkness around you. Don't focus on that. Stay focused on the things that you want to see. Don't focus on the things you don't want to see. Focus on the things you do want to see. And I think we'll end it there. So I hope that's helped, and stay well, stay positive, and stay focused on the good stuff. Bye.